What's up, guys? Welcome to another project wrap up. What's going on? Did the game scoring app? It is done, finally. Still had some App Store problems. Got a life changing book for you guys and a business plan to share. And still a little undecided on what the next project's going to be. So we'll get into it. Here we go. Obviously, you guys are watching the video option. We can skip this right here. So the project status, 5 of 12. I know my whole goal is 12 projects in 12 months. That would imply one project per month. And if you're keeping track, you would realize that time frame's not what it should be right now. But it ain't over yet. So on that note, yeah, happy to announce Up the River, which is the game I was creating this for, is finally released on iOS and Android, so you can get in the stores, check it out. Up the River. Yeah, so it's a scoring app for the game Up the River, Down the River. My family and I play this game a lot. I don't know if anybody else plays this game, but they had to have learned it somewhere, so somebody's gonna get use out of it. And if you haven't, you can check out the rules section in the app. It's very straightforward. You could probably just read that and then get some friends and play. You need two to seven players, and just a little card game. This app will help though, because scorekeeping is a pain in the butt from time to time. It's just kind of annoying. And for those of you in the know, at the end of each round, and then for sure at the end of the game, this will eliminate all the debatable moments on if math is done right and stuff like that. So, I think it's going to help out overall. The build. So this one was more fun than past ones so far, mainly because got to make it a bit of a team effort. My sister Mikkel and my stepdad Jimmy invited them into the Canva design phase of this. So I designed it up pretty quick right away, and then I realized I could get team members, input them, and then you basically just chat and make suggestions or whatever. Kind of like a Google Doc or something, but in Canva, and it's nice, and it made it fun and just better. So got some good suggestions, and so yeah, I like it. I'm planning to do that more in the future. The App Store became a bit of an issue. I all these games that I make, or not games, all these apps I've made so far, they're very straightforward. They're not implementing any things that use like location or creating an account or anything like that. So I've kind of taken for granted the fact that I thought as long as the tech was simple, it would almost be a shoo-in to get into the stores. The App Store proved me wrong. I think maybe it was just I didn't know that they have overcrowded spaces that they take seriously. Obviously they have overcrowded spaces. So they classified this as spam in a drinking game category. They have too many drinking game apps, didn't want another one, and so they said it was a spam app. It's just an additional one. I had to appeal and explain, and I ended up resubmitting in a different category, not in the game category. I did it in the utilities category, changed the title to add scoring app for Up the River, and yeah, that seemed to work, because as I was literally writing this out, I was basically done showing the workaround, which you'll see in a second, and I got the email back that we were good to go. So it all worked out. So right now, to download, you got three options. So obviously you got this newsletter. You can go into the newsletter, or you can just go search in the stores for Up the River or TaufLife. Either of those will get you to the app. If you go to TaufLife, you'll just see all the apps that I've done. But if you want to go through this newsletter, you can click any of these links. This Apple, it'll take you up here, and the same for Android. It'll take you here to the Play Store, and then the www. So this is the new one, and it was part of the workaround I'd implemented, and then decided I'm gonna just keep this, and maybe implement it on all my apps and go back to the other ones too. So I made a subdomain. Right? It's if you go to uptheriver.tauflife.com, you'll end up here, and this is the game. You can play it on here. So the workaround that I had come up with and realized, I build with Flutter, and Flutter is one code base will build for 6 platforms. It's like iOS, Android, web, Mac, Windows, and Linux, which is awesome, and it does it really well. And so realized that the web apps that get built with Flutter are actually progressive web apps. And what does that mean? That means that you can download them from the web to your device. So you can do this from, it works like if you're using Safari and an iPhone, or just Chrome and an Android phone or something like that, just in your web browser. If you go to uptheriver.tauflife.com, or on your Windows machine. So I'll just kind of show you right here. See this thing right up here in the browser? It says install up the river, down the river. And so if you click this, so I could play this game right now and just play it online, but you'd have to have an internet connection to do this. If you download it, you say, yeah, install it. This is now an app on my device. So I'm just playing it. I just go double click, the icon that shows up, and it's there. So if it's on a phone, it just installs it as an app. Very cool. Very glad I actually came into this. So a very good thing came from this whole issue of not getting into the App Store right away. I was very happy with that. So anyway, I like that a lot. You have all those options. Check them out. Let me know. Good thing about the app too, like you saw it, I think on there, it shows like you can resume. So if a lot of times you'll be playing this game, it takes a little while, so you get halfway through, you go do something else, come back, keep your same order of players and stuff. But if all things stay the same, you can just resume that game. So pretty cool. All right, moving along. Tools I used, pretty much the same tools as last time. Flutter, Git, got Windows and Mac. Canva is a big one that's nice. Backend Hive, that's for local storage. Google Bard is like ChatGPT, but for Google and more updated. It's pretty solid. It actually just became Gemini, I think, a couple days ago, or they're 2 different ones, but kind of the same. I like it because it's more up to date. It's like more real time. ChatGPT is behind by like a year or something at this point. Yeah, and so the things I learned, App Store is restricting apps. It's not a shoo-in. Look into that a little bit and research that before you devote too much time, or at least make sure your app is something that's bringing a lot of value, I think. They're not trying to just clutter it. I also learned they're very reasonable. They changed their mind and let me in. So I get it. They just saw it in a category or whatever, but once I explained it and changed and resubmitted, no other issue. So that was really cool. Xcode's still kind of a pain. That's just because I'm not as familiar. That's what I use to build the iPhone apps, the iOS stuff. That's just a learning thing. Flutter's very cool. I really like this progressive web app thing. We can do a lot with that. Like I said, you can do it right from the web. It's basically a workaround to putting something in the store. So that could actually, that might even work for like if you wanted to pay for an app and didn't want to pay those stores. They take big percentages of your apps when they do that stuff. So that could be an option. You're not going to get the viewing probably, but it's just an option. Anyway, Canva, very cool still for generating images and stuff. Newsletters all done there. Books and podcasts. I know this is like some of your guys' favorite spot. So I'm going to say read and listen interchangeably. I'm listening. They're all audiobooks. So I didn't actually finish this. You might have noticed from the last project, I think, I had read an Elon Musk book and said it was like the best one I'd read so far. That book was actually, it was a different author, and it only went up to like 2016. Elon's done a lot of stuff since 2016. This one goes up to 2023. It just got released, and it's just cool. It's crazy to see how much stuff one dude can take on. I don't think I would want his life at all. I think a lot of people share that precedent, but or opinion. But yeah, I'm glad the world has people like this to just push boundaries and stuff. Some things I learned, I didn't know he was like self-diagnosed as like bipolar as well. I knew kind of about the Asperger's stuff, but yeah, I think he's got a few things. I kind of heard, I think maybe OCD too stuff. And anyway, he fired his cousins from Solar City. I thought that was kind of funny. He kind of has issues with like his extended family and dad and stuff like that. It's kind of, sounds a little rough, but I thought it was cool. I'd heard about him like with his intent to do tunnels underneath the major like cities and roadways, and it's called the Boring Company, and it's pretty awesome. He actually devoted quite a few resources to this, and I think built a few tunnels, so that some of these things are actually in effect. Didn't know that. And then Starlink is pretty sweet. Just, I think one day I will definitely get a hold of one of those, and I don't know if like RVing across the United States or something like that, I would totally put one on my RV, and it seems like it works really well. So, and it's only going to get better when they put more satellites up. So, very cool. Right, the Life Changer book right here, Die with Zero by Bill Perkins. It just made me very aware and of how I want to live my life, I think, money wise. So I've, big proponent of trying to have wealth in order to have like freedom to just do whatever I want. But I think you get wrapped up in that a lot of times, and you kind of forget why you're building that number high, that bank account number high. This basically suggests you should just be very intentional with what you do with your money. Example, he's big on, like, so you hear Die with Zero, you think, well, what are you going to do? Like, a lot of people want to leave stuff for their kids and families and leave stuff to charities and whatever it might be when they die. This guy is saying, yes, still do that. Do it when you're alive. Like, you should have an actual number that you would like to leave them, at least at a minimum number that you would like to leave them. Maybe when you die and you didn't necessarily die with zero, but like close to zero, the leftovers go as they may. But at least you got the minimum amount that you really wanted to make sure you'd given to whoever. You gave that to them early in life. You got to watch them use it, see it. And the big thing here was it benefits people a lot more early on. If you're going to leave it for like research and stuff, those research companies need it now. They don't need it when you die in 40 or 50 years. That company's either gone bust or whatever. Kids, they need it more like in their 20s and 30s. That's when they're financially kind of struggling, typically the most. A lot of times though, people are inheriting money when they're in their 60s or so, because their parents are like in their 80s or 90s. Again, this is all rough ranges and stuff, but at that point you've basically lived your life. You've already done all your things like financially to try and get up. You're probably about to retire if you haven't already, and then you just get this extra sum, but you already worked to get whatever you needed at that point, so you don't need it as much. So it just made a whole lot of sense to me. The guy's an engineer, so that helps be relatable, I think, to me. But yeah, it just made a lot of sense. He tries to do things like, guess your typical life expectancy. That's kind of like what they do for insurance companies and stuff. obviously nobody can guess when they're going down. But some people have a decent idea. And then even if you don't, just do a guess and then build a safety factor around it. Be like, okay, it would take me, if I got to this number, I would have to have this much money. You should start considering like inflation and things like that, because it's important, and interest rates and stuff, because if you can just get a certain amount of money and then compound it, then you only got to get to a certain amount of money. You don't have to like get to, if you want $1 million, $5 million, whatever it is at the end, like figure out how early you can stop and just let it ride, and take into account what you would spend monthly or whatever. Harping on this one anyway. Very good book. I would suggest it to anybody. Quick listen, at least. I think it was like 5-10 hours, something like that. Always listen on 1.5 speed anyway, so it's good. I would totally suggest this. Check it out. All right, podcast right now. The bottom 3 have been there since last time. Still in the tops. The top 2, so SaaS interviews the CEOs, startups, founders. SaaS is software as a service. You'll hear me talk about this a little more in a minute. But basically, I think I mentioned like a Netflix or something. It's like subscription software. So this guy is like full on numbers. It's a 15-20 minute podcast and a lot of info, and he just hammers it down. He's very intellectual with what his questions are, and just all the numbers. He's very numbers based. You can tell he knows his stuff. And even though you don't understand all of it, you start to after a few episodes, and you'll get the gist of some of these things. And if you're an entrepreneur, want to be entrepreneur, starting a business, whatever, I think it's good stuff to hear, and just so you're aware of it. American History Tellers, very, very well narrated stories of American history. So I think American history is cool. I mean, any history is cool, but this one is American history, and it's very well read. I think it's Wondery is the main big corporation, but the guy who does this, I really like it. It's usually like 4 or 5 episodes on a subject. I just listened to the Salem witch trials one, and it was really good. It's crazy to think, like, I guess it was 1690s or whatever. So we're talking like 300 something years ago. Were people just getting hung all the time because they got accused of being a witch, and that's that. It's nuts to like think that the difference from now till then, and it made me think of, oh my gosh, in 200-300 years, whatever, what are they going to be thinking about us? I mean, we're going to just some of the laws that we have, and just the way things go, I'm sure those people are going to look back and be like, those people are crazy. So I don't know, just a little reflective self-reflection going on there. My First Million, great business podcast, just good relatable guys. Startup stories, good startup stories, very cool. And Simple Man podcast, B Team Jiu-Jitsu. Oh yeah, these guys are just comedic and entertaining. So the Twitter and X, I've started to get some traction. No, 120 something followers isn't a ton, but I was gaining very consistently each day, and woke up the other day and I dropped like a third of them, and I don't know, I guess maybe they were bots, whatever it was, they dropped off, but we're gonna keep going. I don't care a lot about this right now, like the follower count, but I would like to get it up just so it's another branch of things, of people I can reach out to and stuff. But either way, Twitter's really informative. I like that. I like the build in public community and stuff. It's very cool. So if you want, go follow TaufLife. That's me out there. All right, the business plan. So the 12 projects, 12 months, whole goal was to learn to make software products or apps or whatever quickly and efficiently, and then make money from them. and hopefully a lot of money at some point. Like I would like to get a nice piece of software that can build, and it just just keeps accumulating payments, and I won't have to put tons more work into it. Would be it's the ideal. Anyway, so far I've concentrated on the first half of that, the just getting to building and putting things out. I know it's been slower than the intended 12 projects, 12 months, but I try to, be a good dad, be a good husband, and I have a very full-time job. I actually have a few jobs. So I have a very full-time main job and then some side jobs. So I've done the 5 projects since March of this year, and I'm feeling pretty good about it actually. So yeah, it's 5 more than I would have if I never did this, and I've learned a ton of stuff, and I think it's working out well. So that said, I am thinking I'm going to start focusing a bit on the monetization part. Marketing is huge, and it takes time, and maybe that's not something I'll do or have a huge hand in later on if I start like a company that actually gets bigger or whatever. I'll hire that out or do whatever. But I always think it's good to like know how to do each part at least a bit. So focusing on just trying to break through and make some money for whatever the next project is. Doesn't have to be a lot, but just some at least. Like I said, pretty interested in the SaaS product stuff, and I'm interested in incorporating some AI stuff because the tools are really coming around now, and I think it's definitely going to be just the norm in the not too distant future to be using things with AI. So I think from a learning process and a monetization process, that's a good call. So that's the plan. All right, next product or project. Obviously, I don't know yet. I'm going to wait a few days. I think I'm going to do another video next week, and I'll do an update and just let you guys know what I've decided on. In the meantime, if you have like something at your job that is just a task that sucks and you think could be solved or improved with some software, it doesn't have to be that you get it. Maybe your company wants to get it or whatever it is. Let me know. Just hit me up, let me know, and maybe you can brainstorm it or something, see if it seems like a fit for what I'm trying to do. I'm not trying to do a huge project right now, but I am trying to do something worthwhile financially on this next one, I think. So it would be cool, and if it ends up becoming a big project, then that's great. But the goal right now, something small-ish that could bring some good improvement. So let me know. All right, it's a wrap. I really appreciate you guys hanging in there for these videos. I know they're long, but at the same time, they come, every 2 months because I'm slacking over here. So I do appreciate it. I did switch all my social media stuff, my handles for TaufLife to @TaufLife, no underscores, no nothing. So if you're in the newsletter right now, you can click any of these links. They'll take you to them. But if you just search Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, search TaufLife. Same for the App Store, Google Play Store. Search TaufLife. You'll find all my stuff. All right, guys. Thanks again. I'll see you in a week when I tell you what I'm going to do.